You are free to start.
All righty, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to our last Senate meeting for the year. I know the semester is going by pretty fast, and we're almost done, guys. So hold on in there for finals week and for everything. But yeah, this is our last meeting, guys. So I will officially call this meeting to order at 5:03 p.m. Secretary Reed can call the roll.
All right. Nathan Scott.
Here.
Ariana Reed.
Here.
Jashara Bolden. Here. Connor Peters. Sean Peters.
Here.
Connor Busick.
Here.
Luke Armstrong. All right. Eli Trimmer. Tate McCoy.
Here.
Seth Nidell. Charles Anderson.
Here.
Brett Shanks.
Here.
Clark Thomas.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mickey Pulliam.
Here.
And Josiah Schmetting.
Here.
And Hannah Berry.
Here.
Alrighty. Thank you, guys.
I didn't get called.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're good. I just want to make sure that you got me down for attendance.
Oh, yes. Trevor Mule. Sorry.
Okay. You're good. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, so it looks like we will meet quorum. So we'll have the adoption of the minutes and the adoption of the agenda. Without objection, those will get adopted. All right, so we'll have committee reports. We'll go to Mickey Pulliam with ADA committee.
Hi, sorry. Yes, I have nothing to report.
All right, thank you. We'll go to Brett Shanks with Health and Safety Committee.
Nothing to report as well.
Thank you. We'll move on to Hannah Berry, Student Governor.
I started talking, but I was muted. I would just say that we had a board meeting last week. If you were able to watch it, that is great. I don't have anything really particular to advertise from that meeting other than congrats to everybody this year for their academic achievements, and especially the seniors that are going to be departing fairly soon. So yay for everyone, I guess.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Student Governor Berry? All right, we'll move on to Josiah Schmetting, Chief Justice.
Hello, I have nothing to report, but congratulations to everybody for making it to the end of the semester.
Yay. Thank you. Next, we'll have Sean Peters, Director of Finance.
Okay. The only thing I have to report today is that we have a piece of legislation on the docket that affects FOC policy, and that is it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Director Peters? All right, I will read Connor Peters' report, Director of Public Relations and Marketing. He says, I participated in MoDOT No More Trash Bash volunteer opportunity with our e-board on Friday as we removed roadside trash in St. Joseph. Following this, I posted some photos of the event on the SGA Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts. Thanks to Director Armstrong for organizing this event. Also, on the topic of volunteerism, I posted a brief social media recap regarding the campus cupboard food drive. Overall, about 110 items were donated. Yay. And again, thank you to Director Armstrong for organizing this event. My main body of work this week was with Director Bolden. I designed graphics individually sized for each of our social media platforms and planned the promotional activities for the Griffin Hunt, which concludes this Thursday. I've sent out a mass email to the student body announcing the Griffin Hunt itself, as well as the Griffin Hunt event on Thursday. I've also contacted Nick McCutcheon from Marketing and Communications about creating a Snapchat filter for this event. Overall, this would be one of the most intensive marketing campaigns of the school year, so please spread the word to your friends. Thanks to Director Bowden for all of her coordinating efforts. As always, please email with any questions that you may have. Email is cpeters6@missouriwestern.edu. Thank you all. So that concludes Director Peters' report. Again, if you do have any questions, his email is cpeters6@missouriwestern.edu, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Director Armstrong is absent, but he has no report today. So we'll move on to Connor Busick, Director of External Relations.
I also have no report this week.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to Jashira Bowden, Director of Student Involvement.
Hi, everyone. So I don't have much to report, but the Griffin Hunt has begun. So I would just say encourage students to find the Griffins that are hidden over all around campus. You guys are able to participate. So if you find a Griffin, hold on to it until Thursday, and then you can turn it in for a special prize. Speaking of Thursday, that is the Griffin Hunt event. I would love to have you all in attendance. There's no dress code or anything, but I definitely will need some assistance. I have my COVID monitors picked out, but we do have miscellaneous duties that could be assigned to you guys. So definitely show up and just, have fun right before finals. So I think that's all for me.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Director Bowden?
Will you remind me again, Director Bolden, what time the event is on Thursday?
It's at 4 p.m. on Thursday. But if you guys are coming to volunteer, I would say get there around 3. That's when we're all will be ready to get stuff, set up for the students to come.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions for Director Bowden? All right, we'll move on to my report. So hello, this is their last Senate meeting. I'm both excited for the new Senate and the upcoming year, and I'm also just very happy to look back at the work that we've all done this year as it is coming to a close. I will say, I guess, my last hoorah as vice president, as I've been updating you all, we've been trying to help with Brian Atkins and getting some more water bottle filling stations on campus. So we will help them install 5 more in addition to the ones that are on campus. So that is going to be up hopefully soon, but we have got that done with in process. So yay for us. Other than that, I don't have much to report. I just want to say thank you guys for being here on Zoom and putting up with all of the COVID things. This year has been nothing short of a miracle that we've all made it this far, but I'm so glad that we have. I'm so glad that I got this opportunity to be the vice president of SGA. Thank you, Nathan, for choosing me as your vice president. It was amazing working with our e-board too, and working with all the senators and everyone this year. I'm not gonna make this too long, but yeah, just thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity. And yep, I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. So are there any questions for me? All right, we'll move on to the president's report.
All right. Well, I want to first start off by just thanking Ariana for how fantastic she has been as a vice president and running the Senate. I mean, this has been such a unprecedented year. I think we're all very aware of that and how much that has institutionally changed the way that we do Senate, and Ariana has just rolled along with it with such grace, and it's amazing to see how she's taken this role and the environment that she had to take it in. So I just want to thank Ariana for being so awesome and being such a leader and just a such a reliable person that I could rely on her to do anything. And just again, thank you so much for that, and thank you to the entire executive board and the entire Senate for all their work. I'll get to thank the executive board more personally on during our transition retreat later this week. But again, thank you to all the senators that have put in time and effort. Thank you for all the all the thought and consideration and support that you've given us and the student body with passing some landmark pieces of legislation. We have another one up today. So thank you for all your efforts, for your your consideration, for your time and thought when it comes to these issues. I know that there's been some issues throughout the year that have brought in contention, and so being able to wade through that and make those educated decisions, it shows a lot of this institution. So thank you all very much for all that. So speaking on today's matters, we have a few pieces of legislation up. The one that is of most highlight to me is the one on the financial. So we've been talking about forever. We passed the first phase of the FOC reforms, and then we talked about doing phase 2, and that kind of got put off. But here we are. We have it polished out, and these are like really good. These are good changes. These are going to really support the student organizations and individuals, and I just think it's going to be great. So, and I'll talk more during that time, but I just want to get that on your radar as we're about to get through. I'm seeing the agenda that we have screen shared, by the way, I believe is the first one that was sent out. There's another one that has item C on the new business, just for heads up. But with that being said, thank you very much for all this time, and I am so excited to start the next year off. So it's going to be a transition time here, but we're going to get up and running again, and we're going to kill it again, just like we did this year with the amazing team that we had this year. All right, with that concludes my report.
Thank you, President Scott, for all your kind words and your detailed report. Are there any questions for President Scott? Okay, Secretary Reed, could you actually go to the updated version of the agenda? It's attached to the same email.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, here it is.
Okay, perfect. Yep. That is it. Okay, so we will move on to new business. which is Senate Bill Fiscal Year 21-32, Gentlemen of Color. And MWSU Senate Bill to recognize Gentlemen of Color as a recognized student organization, whereas Gentlemen of Color currently have the requirements of the required members to become a registered student organization, whereas their purpose is to create a spirit of care, and whereas to provide mentoring, self-discovery, along with a variety of other things, and whereas the organization meets all the requirements to become a recognized student organization. Therefore, we, the student government of Missouri Western State University, hereby enact to approve Gentlemen of Color as a recognized student organization. Therefore, let it be finally enacted that a copy of this bill be sent to Nathan Scott, SGA President, and Hannah Piowski, Dean of Students, for signature. We'll have a sponsorship speech by Director Bolden.
Hi, everyone. So the Gentlemen of Color organization does meet the requirements to become a registered student organization. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Are there any questions for Director Bolden? No questions. All righty. We'll move on to the next bill then.
Did you need sponsorship speech or?
Is there another sponsorship speech for the Gentlemen of Color?
Yes, so the Gentlemen of Color organization has been an organization in the past. They definitely had a lot of members, more so with the leadership graduating. They did have to disband, but they did have a lot of interest from a lot of men on campus. So definitely wanted to point that out.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Are there any speeches of affirmation or speeches of negation? All right, we will move on to the next topic for new business. That'll be Senate Bill Fiscal Year 21-33, Senator Payment. An MWSU Senate Bill to enact payment to each senator at a rate of $250 for a semester, so $500 for the full term upon satisfactory completion of job responsibilities. Whereas the Student Government Association is in need of senators who are crucial for normal functioning of the SGA. And whereas this bill will increase student involvement in elections and will convince talented and motivated students to join the SGA as a senator. And whereas it will be a great investment in our student life and university in general. Therefore, we, the Student Government Association of Missouri Western State University, hereby enact to make every senator eligible to receive $250 payment upon successful completion of one semester of being a senator. Therefore, let it be finally enacted that a copy of this bill be sent to Nathan Scott, SGA President, and Hannah Piowski, Dean of Students, for signature. We will have a sponsorship speech from Senator Anderson.
Yeah, so the reason why I presented this bill is like we have a big issue on not being able to run thoroughly with like 3 or 4 senators. Like, I understand that it's like kind of a big deal that we need senators so we can make bills and pass bills. But I thought like it's only fair like if we gave them a little bit of money, maybe it's going to be more of an incentive to get them to do their job, push bills and push ideas, and then get more students involved. That was it.
All right, will there be an authorship speech from Artemi?
Yeah, I believe that this bill is absolutely necessary for us. It will increase our involvement in the student government, and it will maybe, a key factor for some people to join this SGA, make sure that they can do anything they want, they can achieve something, and they'll be compensated for what they do. I think it's fair, and I think we need that bill.
All right, thank you. I also want to thank you both for presenting this bill. It's been a while since we've had, new bills presented like this, so thank you for taking that initiative. Are there any questions for either Senator Anderson or Artemy?
I have one.
Mhm.
So how will, say, a senator coming in halfway through the semester work under this? Will they get paid the full $250? Will they get paid half? How will any of that be decided?
So they would get paid for the time that they served. They wouldn't get the back pay because they wasn't a senator for that time. But they would still be, like, if they get on halfway through the semester, they would be required to still present bills, show up to Senate meetings, and be an active senator.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
I guess I have a kind of a question / comment.
Okay.
I guess I would ask if that's the intention is to basically kind of have, like, I'm assuming kind of like a prorate system. That would be something that should be in the bill for if we were to have a finalized bill of this that's approved, that kind of procedure should be written directly into the bill. Otherwise, as it's written right now, each senator would receive it no matter if they were in there for one day for the semester. So that's just something that would need to be amended on there.
Okay, thank you for that. That is a good point. I will say with a bill like this, it definitely requires big discussion on it. So I encourage everyone on the Zoom to give their input. And there will require some additional planning for this, I will see as well. Do we have any other questions?
I don't really have a question. I have a speech of negation, if
Okay.
you're ready for that.
Yes, we can take speeches of negation.
I have huge problems with this bill. Right now, like there's, as you guys know, because you've been senators, there's certain roles that we're supposed to play and certain things we're supposed to do, like join committees, go to 2 events per semester, stuff like that. But right now we have no accountability system for, like, senators actually doing this, and actually most senators don't do it. So how are we supposed to pay for senators not doing their job, and how are we supposed to make sure that senators are doing their job if we are paying them? And I can't think of a single person right now who has done anything this semester besides Eli Trimmer, and this bill honestly really gets under my skin. I don't think student leadership should be about being paid. I don't think student leadership should be about money, and I think that's what will make it. I have huge issue with this bill, and I know that I don't really matter in the say because I'm about to graduate and I will no longer be a senator, but that's what I have to say on the matter. I came specifically tonight to say that.
Okay, well, thank you for your feedback, Senator Pulliam. Senator Anderson, would you have any additional questions or comments?
Yeah. So, like, I'm just gonna pass my time to Artemy, and he's gonna explain.
Thank you for your comment. Actually, it was written in the bill that only senators who completed their job successfully will receive the payment. And of course, job requirements for a senator are clearly written in our constitution. So it's a document, right? And it's well documented. So I don't think there should be any concern about that. Talking about the payment itself, I believe that this is necessary. Being such a job, you spend some time on that. You actually work hard. At least you're supposed to work hard. Because of that, people expect to be fairly compensated for that, for their labor, what they do. And sometimes they do a lot, way more than they are supposed to in some cases. Because of that, I think it's not only fair, that will motivate some people to join this SGA instead of, say, getting a regular job, because they know they will be paid. Not too much, but that's a fair compensation. And I think it will really increase our interest in elections, our students' interest in joining the SGA, and I think it will improve the way our student government works in general. That's what I think about it.
Okay, thank you for that.
Can I say something else? He said the guidelines are clearly written. Well, they are. Like, all the requirements for senators are clearly written. My problem right now is that we don't have any accountability system for those guidelines. Have you guys been keeping up on whether senators have been going to 2 meetings or 2 events per month? Have you guys been keeping up on whether senators have been going to committee meetings? The answer is no, because I'm a senator, and not once have I been asked this semester have I gone to my 2 events. So that's where I hold real issue. If we're going to pay senators, we need to find an accountability system that works, because right now we don't have an accountability system. It doesn't exist. So that's where my huge issue lies. And I think that as a senator, you should be an ambassador for like different areas around campus, like non-trad, international, all these things. And we failed to do that this year. We failed hard to be ambassadors for anybody but what directly affects us. And I have huge issue with that. I have huge issue with this bill. And I don't know how to put it into words. I kind of talked to Nathan about this last night, and I'm hoping I got all the points out that I got to him out last night. But if I'm missing something, please speak up, Nathan.
I think you covered it mostly.
Ms. Reed, can I say something?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I know you guys, a lot of you guys probably don't know me. You guys, I'm like only been on camera a few times and everything. I've been trying to be a part of stuff and everything, but I'm also part of Phi Delta Theta. I hold a e-board position there. I'm not really totally naying this. I'm not really totally yaying this right now. The biggest question right now is for people moving on to the next term, the next semester, and going to be part of SGA, is you guys need to sit back, all have a talk, and realize and figure out what's your biggest problem. Do you need more senators? Do you need more senators to show up and be participation? If that question resides more than anything else, then yeah, this bill paying senators would help. Now, is 500 for a full year maybe a little steep? Yeah, I'd probably say so. I'd maybe push it down to 250 and see how it goes that way. I don't know how good our budget system is or anything like that, if we can pay for 500 each, but that's just an also topic to think about. Now, if we really don't need senators because we're getting enough people to sign up and be part of SGA and stuff like that, then I think this bill might be a little ridiculous, because I feel like that's its main goal, is to bring people and get people involved in SGA. Now, for the nay reasons and everything like that, I know you brought up accountability. I'm not totally blaming COVID and everything, but in Phi Delta Theta, that's a problem we are having right now, is accountability. But I guarantee you, with COVID going away, it's going to get better. But also, that's just e-board needs to look at it a little bit more serious. Take everything a little bit more serious on that, and really do your checks on this, and people coming up to 2 events, being a part of committees and stuff like that. And then if they don't get pushed at, maybe they sign a contract at the beginning of the year saying you will receive your payment of term if you do this. You meet you come to 2 events, you're a part of a committee, and you actually participate in that community, or committee, not community. And we just have qualifications like that, which I believe is stated. So maybe it just needs to be stated a little bit more, just a little bit more clearly. And every year you just have, or every semester you have a senator sign a contract saying that they know they will receive the payment if they do the job of a senator. If they don't, then they will not receive the payment. And that is up to judge of the e-board to say whether or not they did their job as a senator or not. That would be my only thing. But the biggest thing is e-board and everybody who's continuing into SGA next year needs to sit back and go, because I honestly don't even know how how many senators we had run for elections this year and stuff like that, if we got a lot or not. But we need to sit back and go, do we need senators? Well, this bill could get us more senators. If people go, well, I can be part of SGA, be part of a kind of a business, a student government association that goes on my resume, while also maybe making $250 a year, maybe $125 a semester or something, they're going to go, hell yeah, let me do that. Now you're going to influence people to come, but where you're going to get people caught up is they're not going to be able to just sit on Zoom calls or do whatever, just show up to meeting and not say anything, because in those guidelines, you'll have them sign the contract saying they actually have to participate. If they don't participate, then they will not receive that pay. That was just like an idea I came up with. We're kind of reinforcing that in Phi Delta Theta right now because we are having accountability problems also. Like I said, we're kind of having the contract situation where you will be rewarded if you do your job. And I know that sucks and everything. And I know that you might think like that's ridiculous that you have to reward somebody with money or something to do a job when it's bettering the community and stuff like that. But not everybody gets off on that. Not everybody just gets off of going, oh, well, I made the community better. So sometimes you do have to give a little bit of incentives to help that out, whether that be different stuff, because some people don't see long-term down the road what being part of SGA Senator and actually participating in it can do for you. So that was just what I had to say on my top of my mind. I know you can take that as you want and everything, and you might think it's dumb, you might think it's stupid, but I think that's the bill's not a total idiotic bill. It's actually a very good bill, I think, and it could help. But then again, it needs to be determined, are we needing senators? Like, are we needing more people to become part of SGA or not? So that's all I got to say. Thank you for letting me talk.
No problem. And thank you for your input. You gave a lot of constructive feedback on that. I'm sorry, was someone else wanting to give
permission to speak?
Yes.
So like I know that there's like a accountability issue, and like a couple weeks ago, Hannah and Nathan sent out an email saying, hey, this is the requirements to be a Senate. This is the requirements to be a senator, and you got to meet these or else you're gonna get voted out. Well, this is an incentive to keep people to want to come, because you're not going to want to come for free. No one's going to give up their time for free. And two, like for committee, like your directors, your presidents, all these people, they get paid. So it's like, why not pay the senators? And for the senators to like go to their committee meetings and stuff, the directors have to send out emails saying, hey, this is when our meetings are. This is what we're going to be going over. So it's not just a senator issue, it's a whole Senate issue. But like if we can work at the lowest level and slowly work up, then we can slowly start making more progress. That's all I have on this.
Thank you for that.
Can I have permission to talk again real quick?
Continue. Yes.
Mr. Anderson makes a good point. Like, I agree with what he's saying. Like, where they are coming at with this bill is smart. It's not like they're trying to, because I feel like there's some people probably thinking that people are just trying to like make a few quick bucks off the system or something. This is a way, but he makes a good point. I'm also pre-med right now. So between SGA, my fraternity being an e-board position at that, all the other stuff I'm doing, applying for med school this summer, I was super busy this year. So I wasn't as involved as I wanted to be. I wanted to be more involved and get out there. And so that's hard for me. And I know that's what's kind of probably taking some people not taking me so serious on this. But like, if people don't do great stuff for free. I mean, if you talk to any businessman, any millionaire or something, they said, if you're good at doing something, don't do it for free. And and I know that sucks, but that's how the world works. That's how it is. It's a shitty thing because people won't do things for free just to better their community, but that's how it is. And you have to realize that. So that's why I'm like, I agree with him paying the senators to work and actually do their job and show up for events will eventually push the right way and push the right thing. Now, like I said, you don't need a $500. I don't know how our budget is, even if it can budget for that. I think that's a little steep. I think if you offer 250, 125 a semester and everything, I think you will see more increase. And then if it's still not what you guys want, then maybe bump it up to 500 and see what happens there. But 500 seems a little dramatic, like it seems a big jump. But I think with this bill, if you really do pass this and everything, and you have the right guidelines, you have the contract, like I talked about, it will be a foolproof system. Like you're not going to get people to come in, senators to go, oh, I'm going to make a quick 250 real quick and just cheat the system. They will actually have to work. And that's where you will also elect senators for projects and stuff like that. They need to be elected and they need to keep their team accountable also. So that means like you maybe like the e-board asks them at the end of the semester before you pay the people, hey, did each person contribute or not? Because like I was part of Eli Trimmer's committee. I did a little things. I didn't do too much of stuff there. Honestly, if we were doing this bill now, I probably shouldn't have got paid. Like if I shouldn't get paid if this was a thing. And Eli needs to go, even though like he knows me, he doesn't know me, whatever, needs to go, no, Trevor really didn't participate enough to withhold the standings of it. He should not get paid. And that's just the bottom line. And you might think that dude's kind of a jerk for that or whatever, but when it comes down to it, I didn't do what I needed to do to meet the requirements, to be honest. So I really think the guys are at a right angle with this. Yes, it probably needs to be talked about a little bit more and probably more described and really in detailed a little bit, which sucks because it's more typing for somebody, but it ultimately will help SGA grow as a whole. And when SGA grows, this campus is going to grow. And that's ultimately what we want. We want Missouri Western to quit being looked at as the cheap campus, a crappy campus, whatever, compared to Northwest and other people in the state. We want it to be just as good and as credible, even though it is in many ways, Northwest. I mean, I'm from St. Joe. I know a lot of my friends and graduates from high schools around here didn't want to go to MoWo because it's the sucky campus or whatever, or they think it's not credible like Northwest, but it is. Missouri Western was a university before Northwest. Just saying. So like it's a better camp. It's a better college than Northwest. It's cheaper. It's better. But ultimately, by growing SGA and growing other kind of like SOR groups and stuff like that, we will eventually grow this campus and make it the best campus that we want it to be. And that's our ultimate goal in the end of it. So thank you for your all time.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for all the senators who have spoken so far and given feedback. Are there any other speeches of affirmation or negation on this bill?
I just have one thing to say, and I'll keep it brief. My biggest issue with this bill is that in the case that we have a full Senate, that's $10,000 of student fees, that we take for SGA that we're spending on paying ourselves when we could be doing other projects for students with that money. And I would say that many people do service for their peers and the community for free. Myself as an example, or all of the senators or SGA people who have participated this year. I think student leadership is often not paid. And I think it would be a good idea for us to evaluate what our peer institutions do and how they compensate or do not compensate themselves.
Thank you for your feedback, Student Governor Barry. Are there any questions or any other comments?
I had just one quick thing to say. As it stands now, I think this is an idea that we need to look at in the future. But as the bill stands right now, I don't think we should, I cannot support it. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
I have a speech of negation, but it's much more balanced, but technically it'll land on the negation side. So first up, I want to thank Senator Moll for, I think, some very wise insights and some very wise comments there. And I also want to thank, Artemy or Senator-elect Udovenko and Senator Anderson for their input on it, and as well Senator Pulliam. I believe that there is a balance here. I think that there definitely is. I think one thing is for sure, senators need to be held accountable, and that hasn't happened as much in not just in my administration, but the previous administration and the administration before that. It's been a problem that's plagued us for a very long time, and it's a problem that needs to be addressed. And I am attempting to address it, especially next year. And you can talk to our advisor, Dr. Hannah Piowski, who isn't here right now, but we've been trying to figure out ways that we can make this work. The problem is accountability is kind of hard to address whenever you don't have someone in a contractual agreement where they're being compensated, and accountability is a lot harder to tell a volunteer that doesn't want that they're coming here out of their own good graces to try and support the university. So but there is another part of this, and that is the important role of the student senate. And student senators, I think, don't sometimes realize how influential they are and how much resources they have at their disposal to make amazing change, and that's unfortunate. But the point is that the student senate is like the organization. It is the most, I would say, one of the most important factors on this campus. I mean, from from resolutions that are written, supporting, like the one that was, I think, a really influential piece this year was the Senate resolution that supported our new president, Dr. Elizabeth Kennedy. I think that was something that had the students' voice heard, and we now see a non-interim president. And I think, while it's the Board of Governors' decision, it was something that was, showed that the students supported and, was appreciative of that kind of leadership. But I would say it's something that, uh, as we move into the future, we have to figure out how we can get people in those roles that follow through those roles, because those roles need to be filled. I mean, the authority of the student senate is something that is wide ranging and even recognized by state law. The same state law that gives all the regulations and requirements for like how tuition and fees are raised and stuff like that also recognizes that student bodies that are popularly elected by the students, they recognize those as having the authority to raise their own student fees. That is about as big of a power as you can have in a student government type atmosphere. So that's something like, those are huge decisions, and everything in between, budgetary decisions. If you wanted to stop me from doing something, all you got to do is write a bill that says stop Nathan from doing something. There are big responsibilities there. And so I'm not against compensation for leaders. I think that we should, I think across the board, not just here, but in not just in student government, but around the world, people should be compensated for the work they do. And the work they do, I think, for one thing, like internships, where it's like, all right, you give free labor and you get experience or you get exposure or whatever. That's that I think people should be compensated for the work they do. But I think when it comes down to it, right now, this bill needs more discussion. We as an e-board need to figure out accountability systems. And also, I would say compensation has another word to it as well, incentives. And that's the bigger thing that we're looking at here. And so I created a task force. We didn't meet very much because things got busy and there was a million projects to do. But I created a presidential task force on servant compensation and incentives to review these exact type of things. And while we never got to like a paycheck style thing, we do have some ideas like parking spots in Blum for senator, like a senator of the month kind of thing. They get to park in a better parking spot that's reserved. And there's a bunch of different things that are, being thought of how we can try and bring senators into a more active role and trying to recognize them for the work they do. And so it's a long battle to try and get incentives started. But I think that there is room to push on that. And I agree that we should try and find how we can get more people engaged. I will say also, as we move into this next year, we're looking at some government reform stuff that could have a massive impact on not only the roles of senators, but also how they can, how they can identify constituencies, how they can kind of feel like they're more of a role. Because right now we basically have like 20, or we have a maximum of 20 little mini presidents that go and go together because they're all just representing the at-broad student. I think if we can define those constituencies a little bit more, maybe you can start talking to, let's say that you were the senator for the Craig School of Business or something like that, or the College of Business and Professional Studies. Then all of a sudden you have more identifiable constituencies. You know who directly to talk to, and you know how to represent those. And so that's something that we're looking at. We're still trying to hash out how we're going to do that. But I think that's also a major part to getting senators more involved. But it's definitely one of the I would say, not necessarily failures, but one of the key, like things that have been put to the side that can't be put to the side any further. And so we need to find a way to get back to an active Senate. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that it's getting back to an active Senate. I don't think we've ever had it. I've read articles in the Griffin yearbook from the 80s and 70s that talk about how there's still apathy and like nothing going on in the Senate and stuff. So it's a challenge, not just of the decade, not just of the year, not of the decade, but like half a century basically at this SGA has been trying to tackle this, and we need to. So thank you all for your inputs on it. I think that there's definitely a lot of discussion on both sides that have very valid points. And I think that that's going to go, I think this discussion will seriously further our further efforts in this. Thank you.
Thank you, President Scott, for that. I will say that that was a lot of constructive feedback. I think this whole conversation about this bill has been very constructive so far as suggestions for improvement or amendments. There was a comment I'll read from Student Governor Barry. I think it would be a good idea to have an ad hoc committee to consider this legislation. So that is another suggestion that it's up to the senators to decide. But yes, it's becoming evident that this bill will have a lot of discussion about it. It will need some amendments, maybe some that has been suggested, maybe new ones, maybe not. I would also suggest that a few senators who maybe this will directly affect, maybe it won't affect, as well as the authors of this bill, really have a conversation about this. There will need to be budgetary considerations. There will need to be several other considerations that go along with this bill. Are there any final questions or comments on this bill specifically?
I have a short comment. I'm not going to get too long-winded. I think a lot of great arguments have already been made for and against, but I would just also ask senators to consider how accessibility to the Senate can be improved through something like this. We have a lot of non-traditional students that end up having to work a lot and maybe don't necessarily have the time to join the Senate or to join SGA. And this is one avenue that you could look at maybe easing that burden so that time commitment is more manageable. And I don't know what that dollar amount looks like or how it's administered. That's for you guys to decide. But this is a unique circumstance in Missouri Western where we have more non-traditional students, and we might be able to support them in that way, in a unique way. Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback as well. Any other final questions or comments?
One more quick comment. I just wanted to kind of say President Scott has a definitely good idea with incentives. That's maybe some way we can get by or something like that with not charging as much and everything, maybe book vouchers, places for them to park and everything at certain buildings so they have front row parking so you're not parking in the third or fourth row like at Agustin, which is what I do all the time because I don't know, it just seems like that's my parking spot. But just little incentives like that, maybe just different things like that. I mean, you guys could think about it more if you're really worried about paying too much, but that's why I'm saying like if you do, I think somebody made the comment about, well, that's like $10,000 that we're taking away from the budget that we could do things around the school if we pay these senators. Well, if you knock it down to 250 a semester, you're cutting that down to 5,000. But if you get a full Senate that actually works, because I mean, I don't know if we had a full Senate at the start of the year, but we definitely don't have one now with as many people that dropped and everything. But if you get a full Senate, that's that many more guys or women, whatever you want to say, people in general that can help you fundraise to get more money for the school. I mean, I don't know how we get a lot of our money and everything like that, but like I didn't feel like there was too big of events of fundraising, and that might be something that we do is we fundraise, we go ask businesses for sponsorships, stuff like that if we can too, because that's what we do as a fraternity to raise money because we are a nonprofit, but we still got to break even every year with all the crap that we have to spend and everything. So that's just another thing that you guys can do is you will pay those people that $5,000 out of the budget or whatever, but you can also possibly raise $5,000 to plus more $1,000 for your budget to actually do more things. I just know that. Who knows? I mean, I don't know how many is a full Senate or whatever, but if you break it down, it might be very little per each person for them to fundraise, maybe a couple $100 or something like that. And then all of a sudden you double your budget or something like that. So just another point to make out.
Right. Thank you for that.
Sorry to prolong this further, but I have just one comment on the fundraising aspect. While I understand your point, that's a very good point, Senator Mole. The SGA does not fundraise. What they do is they collect a student fee. It's the SGA fee. Just a quick update on that. We have this year that fee collected. I believe just around $200,000. Just to put in your mind that. However, that's with COVID numbers where all the classes are basically online, and we are not able to collect fees on online classes, only in-person classes. So like next year, I would hope, now this is not an official budget projection for if Griffin News is watching, but this is, I would hope that would raise actually up to around 300,000 or something like that whenever we have more in-person classes that we can collect fees on. So that's how that budget would go. So just think of that as senators when you're considering what our finances kind of look like there.
So we are like, let's just say, so we are stuck at that 200,000 no matter what. There's nothing we can do to raise that other than we get a budget every year and that's it. Like we
Correct.
can't get. Okay. Well, that's maybe another thing that maybe leans you to the nay side, because like if you can't really fundraise and everything, I get whatever senator's point or whoever that was that made that point about you're taking $5,000 to $10,000 out of the budget to do that we could be using on other things and paying senators. But then again, like I said, it all comes down to how bad do we need senators to participate, and how bad do we need senators to come out and get part of SGA, people to come out and get part of SGA. If it is that bad, which it seems like it is, what I'm noticing, I mean, we've dropped, it seemed like half of the senators throughout the year, at least, possibly more. And we weren't, I don't think, if I could look at Reed's shrugging, I don't think we had a full Senate as we started. I could be wrong, but if that obviously, if you're not even starting with a full Senate and then you're dropping half of your Senate already, it's obviously a big problem. So this might be worth it. I know it sucks to say that you're taking $5,000 to $10,000 out of the SGA's budget that you could be using to do more water fountains or whatever projects, but it might be more pros than cons. Is just a thing to think about. I mean, I would advise, if you're really into this and you're coming back next year, I would advise yourself to take your own time and make a pros and cons list and really try to like not just look at all cons or all pros, like really be in the middle of this, and then possibly compare each other's pros and cons, listen to each other's pros and cons, and ultimately then you might do your research on some other stuff online and you might find out that it is a good idea or it's actually a very horrible idea. So that's just my point of view.
Thank you for that. Again, thank you for everyone who has commented and shared their opinions on this bill. I would say to, okay, there's one more comment. Give me a second. From Senator Anderson, if this would be able to help bring senators in, the committees would grow and we would become stronger and be able to bring more diversity throughout the Senate, whether that be different student mindsets, international students, or different majors and minor students. That is a good observation as well. I would say as for right now that I don't want to say cut this short, but with all of the considerations and all of the ideas that has been brought to this bill, I would suggest to think about revisions. You all have each other's emails because we email you all the agenda and legislation. So I would strongly suggest to have more discussion of it. And if need be, we can revisit this in open discussion as well. But yes, I definitely like the whole brainstorming thing and coming up with alternatives, addressing problems that we see that are important to address for the functionality of SGA, because that's what these meetings are for. That's what this is for. Did I miss another comment? As of today, I think I need to withdraw the bill. Okay. I mean, it's up to you guys, the senators, obviously, on, I guess, the future of this bill as it currently stands. We will go ahead and move on to the next bill as of right now.
I think I actually have something to say. If we like, we can just table the bill for later, or for everyone to be able to discuss this and make the changes needed.
So you're motioning to table the bill?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Okay, Secretary Reed, can you call a vote on whether this Senate Bill fiscal year 21-33 be tabled?
Okay, yes, I can.
Hold on, I got a question. What does tabling mean? I might be dumb, but
oh no, you're fine. You're fine. So tabling just means that it's you could think of it as being put to the side, so there won't be an official yay or nay vote on it. As of currently, it'll be tabled, put to the side, and if there are revisions to it, or if there is anything that should be added or taken away to the bill, then another motion would need to be made to untable it, and then you can vote on it.
okay, that's what I thought. So if I nay it from tabling, that means I want to put it to a vote for like a legit vote. Is that what that means?
Yeah, so since technically, and good questions, by the way. So technically, since this would be the first reading of it, there's usually a second reading also. If there's a decision by the Senate to consider the question, then the vote would say, do we want to pass this or do we want to fail this bill? If we table it, then it takes that voting process away, and now it's just kind of stored on the shelf for later consideration if you do decide to untable it. So if you say, no, I don't want to table it, then it just stays on the agenda as new business, and you can decide what to do with it there as a Senate. Does that make sense?
Yep, makes total sense. Thank you.
Okay, no problem at all. So if there are no other questions, I think Secretary Reed, we're good to call that vote.
Alrighty. So starting with Brett Shanks, and this is to table the Senate Bill fiscal year 21-33, just so everyone is aware. Starting with Brett Shanks. Charles Anderson.
Aye.
Clark Thomas. Clark Thomas. All right, I'll come back. Okay. Mickey Pulliam. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Nikki's phone was dying. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if that's impacted it.
Okay, just making sure. I was still off mute. Tate McCoy.
Aye.
Trevor Mule.
Aye.
All right. Clark Thomas. Let me see, because I didn't hear anything.
Aye.
Awesome. Okay. I believe that is everyone.
Were we able to get Mickey Pulliam's vote? I know it's...
Yeah, I'm not sure. Mickey Pulliam.
I'm not even
And
seeing
if
her on the call.
Yeah, I still see the...
Mickey Pulliam.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, so I am doing a roll call vote to table Senate Bill fiscal year 21-33.
So we just need your vote, yay or nay, on tabling the bill.
Mickey Pulliam.
If you would like to type it in the chat, if there's, something, then you can type it in the chat as well.
Guys, I can't hear anything being said. And the phone keeps trying to unmute me, and I'm not muting. I'm confused.
Okay, Secretary Reed, could you type it in the chat?
Yes, I will.
Oh, there. Sorry, I got a text message from Hannah. Yay on tabling the bill. Sorry.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much. All right, so the ayes have it, and Senate Bill fiscal year 21-33 will be tabled. All right. So next we'll have Senate Bill fiscal year 21-34, Foundation of Financial Freedom and Resource Availability Act. And MWSU Senate Bill to approve reforms to FOC policy, whereas under the directive of President Scott and Vice President Reed, the FOC has extensively reviewed its funding policies to find areas for improvement, and whereas the FOC has spent the past year identifying, drafting, and litigating these proposed reforms, and whereas the FOC and President Scott strongly believe these changes will bring immensely positive change to the SGA's efforts to serve student organizations. And whereas these reforms will provide more freedom for RSOs to utilize their resources and open new avenues for student engagement. And whereas the Student Government Association strongly affirms the necessity to invest in our students and campus culture, especially in the challenging era we presently reside within. Therefore, we, the Student Government Association of Missouri Western State University, hereby enact to amend the Appropriation Supply Guidelines to reflect Attachment 1, amend the Funding Act and the SGA bylaws to reflect Attachment 2, and repeal the FOC appropriations funding policy. Could you scroll down, please? Therefore, let it be finally enacted that a copy of this bill be sent to Nathan Scott, SGA President, Hannah Piowski, Dean of Students, and Dr. Elizabeth Kennedy, University President, for signature. We'll have a sponsorship speech by Senator McCoy.
All right. I would like to yield my time to Nathan Scott so he could properly do a rundown of the attachments on, as I am not allowed to screen share using my phone, and his equipment would be a much better fit for that job right now.
Gotcha.
Thank you for yielding. I'm actually going to yield over. I'm going to yield your time that was yielded to me over to Director Peters to have initial comments, if he would so like to speak on that.
Yes, so basically these changes would appeal the appropriations policy. And in case you don't know, appropriations is basically the first 2 weeks of the semester, students can apply for appropriations and they can have access to funding for supplies, co-sponsorship, and travel funding. By removing this, what would happen is students could apply for supplies at any point in the year. So that would benefit the student body because they're not limited to just, having to figure out what they need the first 2 weeks of the semester. And then the changes in the documents reflect the removal of appropriations. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I'm gonna say I'll take that time back. I want to add on there. So beyond that, there are numerous kind of like legal writing changes to make it more coherent, stronger, and reflecting exactly how we would normally do operations, but just making it much more solidified and smoother to understand and read. And yeah, so that's the initially major changes on the Senate bill there. Sorry. Thank you. I yield back to Senator McCoy.
Then I relinquish my time.
All right. Thank you. Let's see. Are there any actually Senator not Senator, Secretary Reed, could you go over to those attachments really quickly just so everyone can scan through them? Hopefully you all have had the opportunity to look through them in your emails. I'm just kind of gonna go through to look at the attachments, outlines uniforms, general supplies.
That is it. That's all for this one.
Okay.
And then the second attachment.
So while we're scrolling through here, can I make another comment on the matter?
Yes.
Okay. So another part that I guess just kind of slipped my mind for a moment. One of the other major parts of this amendment, it's actually a change to the who gets what when it comes to the different allocations that we give out. So, in previous years, how it's been is RSOs have $5,000 for, or it's technically been 3,000, 2,000. You got 3,000 for this category, 2,000 for this. So first off, what we did is we broadened it up in the previous one to $5,000 total funding for the entire, for all the, the RSO can use up to 5,000 for whatever they want. This actually, now what it does, it separates out RSOs are eligible for funding for co-sponsorship of events and supplies. And individuals are now eligible for travel funding. So previously RSOs also had travel funding available. This change is not taking away, in the view of the FOC, it's not taking away travel funding from RSOs, but what it actually will do, and I'm sure Sean can speak on it, what this will actually do is free up RSOs to travel, but having individuals have the right to their own, basically their own funding for that. And if they want to use their $500 allocation for travel funding, if they want to, take the trip with, like, let's say, if there was like a state conference or whatever for the organization they're a part of, they would be able to go on that trip with their funding without charging it to the RSO, costing the RSO part of their budget for it. So this allows each individual to have their own resources to choose where they want to travel and have that kind of access without inhibiting the RSO, because if they were going to travel to a state conference that might be part of the RSO in previous years, that would actually just take away money from the RSO instead of taking away money from their own allocation. So this kind of separates it out, and it allows RSOs to use their resources for things on campus and for that, and individuals, even if it's for an organization, to be able to go out and do their conference or travel or whatever it is via the funding that they have allocated.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for President Scott or any questions on this bill in general? Are there any speeches of affirmation or negation?
I'd like to give a speech of affirmation. Just the amount of time that's been worked on this. I know earliest memory I can think of would have been last summer when all the guys been working on this thing. There's been a lot of hard work put into this, and I know they have taken a lot of careful thought in how they organize everything around.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other speeches of affirmation or negation?
I have a speech of affirmation. I'm the chair of the Financial Oversight Committee, and this has my complete support. All of these changes we think will help increase RSO, incentivize RSOs to do things on campus. We think that this is streamlining a lot of things. I truly think this is these changes are for the best in for SGA. That's all.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or speeches or comments?
I motion, or at least I would ask for unanimous consent to consider the bill FY 2132, Gentlemen of Color.
All right, if there's no objection, we will consider the question. All right, Secretary Reed, can you please do a roll call vote to consider the question for FY 21-32?
Yes. All right. Trevor Mule.
Yay.
Brett Shanks. Charles Anderson.
Aye.
Clark Thomas.
Aye.
Tate McCoy.
Aye.
And Trevor Mule. Oh wait, did I already call Trevor Mule? I'm so sorry.
I believe so.
Yep,
Aye.
I did.
All right, was that everyone?
Yes.
All right, the ayes have it, so that does indeed pass. Wonderfulness.
All right, then I would ask for unanimous consent again to consider the bill FY 2134.
Okay, unless there's any objection, we will go ahead and consider the question for FY 21-34. Secretary Reed.
Alrighty. Brett Shanks.
Aye.
Charles Anderson.
Aye.
Clark Thomas.
Aye.
Tate McCoy.
Aye.
And Trevor Mule.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, looks like the ayes have it, so that does indeed pass as well. I want to say congratulations to the authors and the presenters of both bills that have passed today. I think that is awesome, great. Also great discussion on the previous bill that was tabled also. Love to see it. Good vibes for our last meeting. All right, so we are to open discussion. Is there any topic for open discussion that someone would like to bring forward? I do have one thing for open discussion. Well, it's kind of open discussion, but Dr. Hannah Piowski did ask me to, I guess, spread the word to everyone on the Zoom that there is a search for a provost and vice president of academic affairs that has been sent out to student government and to presidents of RSOs. That meeting is a Zoom meeting. It will be held on Tuesday, tomorrow, April 27th at 10:45 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. All of the student leaders, including student government and the RSO presidents, have been emailed the link to that Zoom. They would like as many of us to be on there as possible because they want the student input on the process of finding a new provost. Are there any questions or comments on that? All right, are there any other topics for open discussion or are there any announcements? No announcements? All right, I would just say, keep in mind that the Griffin Hunt is currently underway. I hope to see all of you at the actual Griffin Hunt event on Thursday. For any other announcements or anything like that, just watch your emails, watch your social media accounts, things of that nature. Anything else before we say goodbye? All right, well, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All right, this meeting will be adjourned at 6:20 p.m. Thank you all so much. Thank you guys. You guys been amazing. I'm gonna miss you all. And I hope you have a good rest of the semester. Hang in there, guys.
Bye, everyone.